In the spring of 2001, BC Gas began an ambitious program to restore the lands disturbed by the previous year's construction of the Southern Crossing pipeline. They paid particular attention to areas near streams and rivers.
One of the most important habitats that we target for restoration is the so-called riparian zone. These sensitive streamside habitats hold the greatest diversity of life in the forest. And at some point, all wildlife species are dependent on this zone for at least one stage of their life cycle.
Rich in life's necessities, the riparian zone forms a link between plant and animal communities in the aquatic and upland habitats. The insects, fish, and plants that other animals depend upon all thrive here. The health of this zone is vital to many other species. Crucial to the health of the riparian zone is the physical stability of the stream bank. In nature, the roots of various plant species that grow there form a network that anchors the soil and protects the banks from erosion. From a restoration perspective, willow is the best at this. Willows root easily, are fast-growing and hardy. They are perfect for erosion control, and their dense foliage provides shade and habitat. We had the Tanahakin Basket Band out of Cranbrook and the Lower Similkameen Band out of Karameas do the collections for us, and they established sort of nursery areas on their reserves to grow the willows on.
So what you going to do with these?
I am going to take these to the truck where they will be pruned, and then they will be soaked in water and put in sacks of 25.
You see where it's dead here? Right here? You want to just shorten it to about there, like that, and then just take these little ones off. What you're ideally trying to get is four good branches, eh?
Amber, what about this?
So the willows and the red osier were grown over the summer at the two reserves. They received very special care. They were watered about every second or third day and would receive up to 5 hours of water a day in some cases. But they're produced excellent stock. They range from about 1 to 3 feet high now, have very, very good root growth on them. And they're now going to be collected and are taken out of their holding beds, packaged, and taken out to the various streams and seepage areas and planted.
This is what you call burlap.
Yeah.
We use this burlap, to wrap the willow and the red willows, and we bundle them up with this burlap. We do the tying. We tie them up real tight, and then we put them aside on the wet burlap so they won't dry up. We always make sure the trees are always moistened with the burlap so it don't dry out. If it dries out, then we don't have any trees.
It'd be much easier if we had water running in this field, but because we don't, we have to pack the water from Tony's place. I didn't have anything to do with the growing. I think, Tony, you would probably have a better idea of when they actually started growing these, eh?
You had to water them all summer?
Yes, there was somebody here every day, just about the weed and water.
So now they're like your children?
Yeah, just about it. Yes, I suppose. Yeah, they grow up pretty good.
Hey, if you really don't want to do this, you're back digging. But I don't think that'll. And then what we do is when we get them to just before the cooler, we actually, once we arrive to the cooler tonight, we give them another soaking before they hit the cooler. And then tomorrow morning, these will go on a truck, but we soak them again as they're loaded on the truck.
We've grown over 20,000 willow and red osier cuttings this summer. And they're going to be put back in areas where these species were prevalent prior to construction. The stream banks are very important riparian zones, so they're very important for fish habitat, wildlife habitat. On fish-bearing watercourses, we use natural materials to restore the disturbance caused by construction. In addition to bank stability, willows provide shade and nutrients. These willows, harvested from the surrounding forest, will soon grow to form a natural network of roots and branches that will protect the riverbank from erosion and help restore the site to natural conditions. All the willows need is a little help from Colin Rice and his crew. Willows grow well in the wet soils along the creek side, but to encourage rapid growth and high survival rates, some preparation is necessary. The soil is loosened, and a small log anchor provides a base for the new plants. The willows are pruned so they will absorb moisture and soaked before planting. Willows love water and do best if constantly hydrated while they grow. Planting is easy. All that's necessary is to drive the stakes as deeply as possible into the wet earth, and nature takes over from there. Another element that's important for a healthy riparian zone is what we call coarse woody debris. In nature, these logs and stumps interrupt the rapid flow of water, creating pools where fish and insects can thrive.
He wouldn't be doing any good. I gotta lift it right. Put it on top of that.
Recreating habitat from natural debris requires a good knowledge of the biology of the creek and the surrounding lands. It's information we've learned during the environmental planning stage of the project.
Nice shape. Very good.
To protect the riparian habitat from the effects of spring runoff, it's sometimes necessary to literally stitch the new habitat together with the help of man-made materials. Creeks like Summit Creek experience very high flows during the spring freshet, and we need to anchor the various components securely to ensure that they survive each spring's runoff. Once the various components are stitched together, they are moved into position in the stream. It's a task made much more difficult by the icy, fast-flowing water of Summit Creek.
How close over there, Lyle? We can use it right here, pull it this way.
Here, is it? Yeah.
The boulders help anchor the logs and also cover the man-made components of the new habitat structure. Creating a natural-looking structure is just as important as creating a functional one.
You can pull it back a bit. Right, have it sitting right in there. Put that tip right where you're...
The entire assembly is a combination of human engineering skills and biological knowledge. The new habitat must be both attractive to the target species and durable enough to survive several seasons. It's time-consuming, difficult, painstaking work. Is it worth it? Just a few minutes after Lanny's crew finished work here on Summit Creek, these young trout had moved in, ready to begin life in their new home. We take pride in our work, and seeing nature respond to our efforts is one of our best rewards.